Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to provide a demonstration of AWS Identity Access and Management. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Amazon QWiklabs website. And you can see the URL here. And we are going to work through the introduction to AWS Identity Access Management. This lab is going to show us how to access and manage permissions to the AWS services using the AWS IAM. We're going to practice the steps to add users to groups, manage passwords, and log in with IAM created users, and see the effect of IAM policies on access to specific services. So the first thing you want to do is, if you haven't already done so, is to sign up. So click sign in. And if you haven't created an account, simply click create account. And the sign up is very simple. Just be aware it will send a confirmation email to your email account that you use to sign up. This may go to your spam folder, so check for that. Now, I already have an email address, so I'm going to sign in with that. And I've signed in. Excellent. When you sign in for the first time, you typically will see this page here. So just to verify, I'm going to click the home page, and that brings us to this page here. Perfect. If you want to actually search for a particular hands-on lab, you would simply select the catalog, and then you can actually search using the search part here for whatever course, hands-on lab, etc. that you wish to perform. Be aware, most of the courses require credits, although some are free. So we're going to perform the AWS Identity Access Management. So I'm simply going to type that in there and search for it. And as you can see, there it is, Introduction to AWS Identity Access and Management. It will take approximately 25 minutes and it's free. Excellent. So I'm going to select that. And it brings us to this page here. The first thing I recommend you do is simply have a quick scan, have a quick read over what's required. So just to get an overview, I would have a quick scan to get an idea of what's involved. So it's not that long. You can see there's a bunch of steps. Okay, explains the business scenario, task 2, then there's task 3. And then at the end, we simply end lab. So in total, there's 65 steps. I would just have a quick scan to see what's involved. And at the end of our lab, we will have, this is what we'll have done: explored pre-created IAM users and groups. We'll have inspected IAM policies as applied to pre-created groups. We'll have followed a real-world scenario by adding users to groups with specific capabilities enabled. And we'll have located and used an IAM sign-in URL and experimented with the effects of policies or service access. Fantastic. So I'm going to scroll back to the top there now, and I recommend we begin. So I'm going to work through this lab with you fully. So let's have a look. Lab overview. The AWS Identity Access and Management is a web service that enables Amazon Web Services customers to manage users and users' permissions in Amazon Web Services. With IAM, you can centrally manage users and security credentials such as access keys and permissions that control which AWS resources users can access. Fine. So we're going to go through these topics that I briefly identified earlier when we spoke about what we will conclude. And it's useful to read this material so you're up to speed with the terminology and the concepts associated with AWS. So during this lab, be aware you may receive error messages when performing actions beyond the steps in this lab guide. These messages will not impact your ability to complete the lab. That's important. So AWS IAM, which of course stands for AWS Identity and Access Management, it can be used to manage IAM users and their access. So we can create users and assign them individual security credentials such as access keys, passwords, and multi-factor authentication devices. And we can manage permissions to control which operations a users can perform. So that's users. But it's very useful. We can also create the concept of roles. So an IAM role is similar to a user in that it is an AWS identity with permission policies, that determine what the identity can or cannot do in AWS. However, instead of being associated uniquely with one person, a role is intended to be assumed by or assumable by anyone who needs it. That's really, really nice. So it's a form of role-based access control. Very, very nice. And lastly, we can also manage federated users and their permissions. So you can enable identity federation to allow existing users in your enterprise to access the Amazon Web Services Management Console, to call AWS APIs, and to access resources without the need to create an IAM user for each identity. That is really, really nice. So let's have a look. So to start a lab, well, we are to click the Start Lab button. But before I do that, let's read on. This starts the process of provisioning your lab resources. Okay, let me do that now because it'll take a few moments. So first of all, I'm required to prove that I'm not a robot. Okay, let me just do that now. Select all squares with taxis. Okay, hopefully that's more or less correct. Okay, I have verified to the satisfaction of AWS that I'm not a robot. Fantastic. So it is now in the process of provisioning lab resources. The estimated time remaining is 1 minute. Excellent. Note, when you're in the console, do not deviate from the lab instructions. Doing so may cause your account to be blocked. So be aware of that. Just follow the instructions and perform the instructions you're given and nothing more. Okay. So currently the process of provisioning our lab resources is taking place. This will take an estimated amount of time. We're told 1 minute here. Fine. We must wait for our resources to be provisioned before continuing. Very good. If you are prompted for a token, use one distributed to you. In our case, our lab this lab does not require any tokens. Fabulous. So step 2, once the lab resources are provisioned, we are to choose Open Console. This will automatically log us into the AWS Management Console. And be aware, do not change the region, the default region, unless we're instructed. Okay, so it's still provisioning. Let's read on. So common login errors. You may get a federated login error, such as what's written here. Unique federated login credentials are being created. Try again in 30 seconds. Okay, fine. So just follow the instructions there. Fine. Okay. So once the lab resources are provisioned, I will click on Open Console. And then we will begin with task 1. So I'm going to let this happen in real time, just so you get an idea of how long it takes. And there it is, it's done. Excellent. So as you can see, to the left-hand side, we have our key information, our instance ID, administrative password, and the region. If we need to copy this information, you can either select it or you literally can just click here to copy. Very nice. So if you want to copy, just click on these icons here. Fine. Okay, so the first thing is to do is click on Open Console. I'm going to do that now. So that's opened up a new tab and it's going to log us into the AWS Management Console, as you can see here. Perfect. So now I'm just going to follow the instructions as given. So I'm going to have to jump between the tabs. If possible, I may rearrange my tabs if that's more convenient, but we'll see how we get along. Okay. So in this task 1, we're going to explore the users and groups so that have already been created for us in IAM. Fine. So step 3, in the AWS Management Console, on the Services menu, click IAM. So Services Console, click IAM. So let me scroll down to find IAM. Actually, guys, I'm just realized I probably should rearrange the windows, so bear with me that I can see both at the same time. That would be more convenient. Bear with me. I probably won't be able to see fully. Yeah, let me just try that. Just bear with me. It's not perfect. But it's no harm that you see what I'm doing so you get an idea. And I'll go as far as I can there without ruining the message, the ability to read what needs to be done. Okay. It's not perfect, but we'll work with it. Okay, back to our instructions. In the AWS Management Console, on the Services menu, select IAM. So here's the Services menu, and there is IAM. Perfect. So I've selected that. So now it's opening up a new page. Perfect. In the navigation pane on the left, click Users. So we can see here the navigation pane and there is Users. So I'm going to select Users. Now hang on, before I do that, have a look at the overall. I've got 5 users, 4 groups, customer managed policy, 17 roles. Okay. Have a scan, be curious. Don't go clicking at the moment in this lab, but be curious, have a look. So I'm going to click on Users as requested. Excellent. The following IAM users have been created for you. I'm going to squeeze this a little bit more. Very good. And if possible, squash this a little bit more, but not too much so that I don't lose critical information. Perfect. So the following IAM users have been created, and we can see them, user 1, user 2, and user 3. Perfect. Click user 1. This will bring us to a summary page for user 1. Okay. So I'm going to click on user 1. And it brings us to the permissions tab. Perfect. Notice that user 1 does not have any permissions. As you can see here, it's empty. We're just asked to get started with permissions. Happy days. Okay. There's a user ARN. We'll speak about that shortly. Click the Groups tab. Notice that user 1 is not a member of any group. Okay. Let's click the Group tab. Here we go. And as you can see, it's not added to any groups. Click the Security Credentials tab. There's the Security Credentials tab. User 1 is assigned a console password. Okay. So let's have a look. Console sign-in link, and there is a sign-in link. Perfect. Console password is enabled. Perfect. Okay. We can create an access key if required and upload an SSH public key. Fine. Great. Let's follow on. Step 9. In the navigation pane on the left, click Groups. The following groups have already been created for you. So we're now going to click Groups. There we go. And as you can see, the following groups have been created. There's EC2 admin, there it is there, EC2 support, and SC support. Perfect. Okay. Click the EC2 support group. Okay. The EC2 support group. And this brings us to a summary page for the EC2 support group. Perfect. Step 11, click the Permissions tab. So the group has no users. We're going to click the Permissions tab. And there is one permission already set. Let's have a look. This group has a managed policy associated with it called Amazon EC2 read-only access. Let's verify that. There it is, Amazon EC2 read-only access. Perfect. Managed policies are pre-built policies built by either AWS or by your administrators that can be attached to IAM users and groups. Okay. When the policy is updated, the changes to the policy are immediately applied against all users and groups that are attached to that policy. That's fantastic. So as soon as we make changes to this policy here, we're told that the effects apply in real time. Very, very nice. Okay. Okay. Step 12, under Actions, show the policy link. So as you can see here, there's the Actions heading in the table, and we're asked to click Show Policy. Very good. So what does this do? There's our policy there. A policy defines what actions are allowed or denied for a specific AWS resource. Very good. This policy is granting permission to lists and describe information about EC2. So let's have a look. This is our policy. Let's read a version number. Okay, there's the date. Statement, effect, allow, action, EC2 describe, and star for resource. I guess that means all resource. And then another option, another permission, effect, allow, elastic load balancing describe. Very good. And then another effect, allow, CloudWatch, list metrics, and get metric statistics. Very good. So you can see this. So in summary, we can describe information about EC2, elastic load balancing, CloudWatch, and auto scaling. This ability to view resources but not modify them is ideal for assigning to a support role. Fantastic. Now let's understand the basic structure of how an IAM policy is organized. So an IAM policy consists typically of 3 statements, each statement, should I say, consists of 3 components. The first component is the effect, which says whether to allow or deny the permission. The second component of an IAM policy or statement is the action. specifies the API calls that can be made against an AWS service. For example, CloudWatch : list metrics. And then lastly, the resource defines the scope of entities covered by the policy rule. Example, a specific S3 bucket or an Amazon EC2 instance. So in a nutshell, this IAM policy contains a statement, and within the statement can be a list of policies. And the structure of a policy is 3 parts. It contains an effect, an action, and a resource. Excellent. So just so we're very clear on what's what. So step 13, close the show policy window. So we simply click cancel. Step 14, in the navigation pane on the left, click groups. Okay, let's click groups here. Click the step 15, click the S3 support group. Okay, this is the S3 support group. We're told the S3 support group has the Amazon S3 read-only access policy attached, and you can see it here. Again, in your own time, if you like, you can click the show policy. Fine, let's continue on. Step 16, below the action menu, click the show policy link. Okay, they actually want us to look at it. Let's do that. So this policy has permissions to get and list resources on Amazon AWS. So as you can see here, here's a policy, here's a statement, and here's one policy. The effect is to allow, and the action is to S3 get and S3 list. Perfect. So that allows us to get and list resources in Amazon S3. So step 17, close the show policy window. So I'm going to click cancel there. Step 18, click groups once again. So I'm going to click groups. Perfect. Step 19, click the EC2 admin group. So there's the EC2 admin group. I'm going to select that. This group is slightly different from the other two. Instead of a managed policy, it has an inline policy, which is a policy assigned to just one user or group. Inline policies are typically used to apply permissions for one-off situations. So you can see here the policy name. Under Actions, click Edit Policy to view the policy. So under Actions, click Edit Policy, and we can see it here. Okay, so we could actually edit this if we like, because we chose the edit as opposed to show. Okay, this policy grants permission to view, that is, describe information about Amazon EC2, and also the ability to start and stop instances. So you can see that here. So we've got the actions, EC2 describe, EC2 start, EC2 stop, and CloudWatch describe alarms. And this is to all EC2 resources under our domain, and effect allow. Excellent. At the bottom of the screen, click cancel. So let me scroll down. This is where my screen may be too small. I better increase it. Let me increase my the size of my window. Bear with me, guys. There we go. You couldn't see it there because the bottom part was missing. My bad. Let me push that down here. Excellent. Now it's good that you see this in case you have this problem yourself. So we're asked, if memory serves correct, to click cancel, step 21. So cancel. Excellent. Okay, we're approximately 1/3 of the way through the lab already. That's great. So let's continue on. So scrolling down. So business scenario. For the remainder of this lab, you will work with these users and groups to enable permissions supporting the following business scenario. Your company is growing its use of Amazon Web Services and is using many Amazon EC2 instances and a great deal of Amazon S3 storage. You wish to give access to new staff depending on their job function. So if I just increase this so you can see it more clearly. Sorry, I wanted to adjust it there so you could read it clearly here. Yeah, see, it's easier to see now. So we have 3 users, user 1, user 2, and user 3. These are the groups that each user belongs to, so different groups for each of them, and the permissions that they will have that is associated with that group. Perfect. So user 1 can access read-only access to Amazon S3. User 2 has read-only access to Amazon EC2 Elastic Compute 2 instances, and user 3 can view, start, and stop Amazon EC2 instances. Perfect. So We'll now move on to task 2. Task 2, add users to groups. You have recently hired user-1 into a role where they will provide support for Amazon S3. Great. You will add them to the S3 support group so that they inherit the necessary permissions via the attached Amazon S3 read-only access policy. That is obviously available or attached to that group. You can ignore any not authorized errors that appear during this task. They are caused by your lab account having limited permissions and will not impact your ability to complete the lab. So be aware of that. Excellent. So add user-1 to the S3 support group. Okay. In the left navigation pane, click Groups. Great. Step 23, click the S3 support group. Okay, excellent. Step 24, click the Users tab. Very good. In the Users tab, click Add Users to Group. Okay, so the button here, Add Users to Group. Great. In the Add Users to Group window, configure the following. Select User 1. So let me go. Select User 1. Excellent. At the bottom of the screen, click Add Users. Okay, so I'm going to click Add Users. And as you can see, User 1 has now been added to the group S3 support. Excellent. Now we want to add User 2 to the EC2 support group. So using the similar steps to the ones above, add User 2 to the EC2 support group. So let's go back up to the equivalent of step 23 or step 22. So we select Groups again. This time we select the EC2 support group. And then within that group, we select the users tab. Within that group, we select, I clicked the wrong one there. The EC2 support group. Then click the Users tab. Click User 2. And then click Add Users to Group. Add Users to Group. And this time we're going to select the EC2 support group. And then click Add Users. Or Add to Group, I beg your pardon. I've done it a different way, I think slightly the previous one, but you get the idea. EC2 has been added user to group. So if I go back to the groups, we can quickly verify S3 support has one user. And if I go back, EC2 support has one user, user 2. Perfect. So user 2 should now be part of the EC2 support group. I've just verified that. This is the EC2 support group, and there is user 2. Excellent. So now we want to add user 3 to the EC2 admin group. So we can use similar steps to add user 3. Okay, so again, we can, what is the group? It's the EC2 admin group. So select Groups, EC2 admin, add users to groups, select user 3, just to verify it, yeah. Click Add Users, and user 3 has been added to the EC2 admin group. Perfect. So we've completed step 28 now. Up to 28, should I say. In the navigation pane on the left, click Groups. Let me do that now. So each group should have one user in the users column for the number of users in each group. And as you can see, each group has one user. That is correct. If you do not have a 1 beside each group, revisit the above instructions to ensure that each user is assigned to a group. Perfect. So just again to verify, S3 support has user 1. EC2 support has user 2. And lastly, EC2 admin, which can start and stop, EC2 instance, has user 3. Perfect. We have now successfully completed task 2. Task 3, sign in and test users. So in this task, you will test the permissions of each IAM user. Okay. Step 30. In the navigation pane on the left, click Dashboard. So the navigation pane on the left, click Dashboard. Perfect. An IAM user sign-in link is displayed. It will look similar to, and you'll see the link here. So let's have a look. And there it is. This link can be used to sign in to the AWS account you are currently using. So copy the IAM user's sign-in link to a text editor. Okay, so to copy it, we can simply select that icon just to the left of customized. And you see the way it's displayed, copied there. I'll do it again. Copied, excellent. So now I have to open up a text editor. Okay, let me do that one more time. Copied. And I have Notepad++ here. I'm going to paste it in. Perfect. So you can see that there. Let me go back to the instructions. Open a private window. So these are the instructions in Chrome. Click on, I have Chrome, I'm running Chrome at the moment. So click the ellipses at the top right of the screen. So an ellipsis is simply the 3 dots, and click new incognito window. So I'm going to select there and new incognito window. The shortcut is Control-Shift-N. Perfect. It's opened up a new window. Very good. Paste step 33. Paste the IAM user sign-in link into your new private window and press enter. So I'm going to go to my browser, or not my browser, my text editor. I'm going to highlight the link. I'm going to press Control-C to copy or edit copy. I'm now going to the new incognito window. I'm going to select the URL bar and I'm going to select edit paste and hit enter. And now it's loading that window. So it's taking a few moments. Very good. We're now presented with a sign in as an IAM user. And the account ID is already pre-populated. Excellent. Okay, that's step 33. You will now sign in as user 1 who has been hired as your Amazon S3 storage support staff. So sign in with the IAM username user-1. So IAM name user-1 and password. Paste the value of the administrator password located to the left of these instructions. So there's the administrator password. So again, I'm going to copy that by selecting this icon here, going to my window, select the password field and paste, and then I'm going to click sign in. And it is now currently signing in. And it has successfully signed in. Fantastic. So that is step 34 complete. Step 35, in the services menu, select S3. So I'm going to select the services menu, which gives us all the options available, the services with AWS, and under storage header, I'm going to select S3. That's taking a few moments to load. Excellent. So that's step 35 complete. Step 36, click the name of one of your buckets and browse the contents. So you can see the buckets here. So I'm going to click the first one. Since your user is part of the S3 support group in IAM, they have permission to view a list of Amazon S3 buckets and their contents. Now, test whether they have access to Amazon EC2. Fine. So we can see they have access to the buckets. Fine. There's an object inside the bucket lab 2493.json. Excellent. Step 37, in the services menu, click EC2. Okay, so once again, select the services from here and then select EC2 under compute. Excellent. It tells us that we have a new console. Great. Notice we can see a bunch of API errors. Okay. Step 36, I beg your pardon, step 38. Navigate to the region that your lab was launched in. Okay. Click the drop-down arrow at the top of the screen to the left of support. Let me find that there. So there's support. That's the region we're currently in, which is Ohio. Okay. selecting the region value that matches the region to the left of these instructions. So the region to the left of these instructions is clearly indicated as US-West-2. So I'm going to change the region to US-West-2, which is US West Oregon. So I'm going to change that now by clicking it, which I've just done. Great. So in the left navigation, step 39, in the left navigation pane, click Instances. Perfect. So we're on the EC2 dashboard and here we have Instances. So let's select that. It says you cannot see any instances. This is because your user has not been assigned any permissions to use Amazon EC2. So as you can see, it says we've no instances, but we actually can't see any instances. Fine. You will now sign in as user 2 who has been hired as your Amazon EC2 support person. So sign user 1 out of the AWS Management Console. How do we do that? At the top of the screen, click user 1. So at the top of the screen, there's user 1, and then select sign out. Excellent. So now we've signed out. Perfect. So that was step 40. Paste the IAM user's sign-in link into your private window and press enter. So once again, I'm going to my notepad. I'm going to highlight this, Control-C to copy. Back to my private window, Control-V to paste and hit enter. Perfect. So step 42, sign in with the username user-2, paste the value of the administrator password located to the left. There's the administrator password, so I'm going to copy that, go here, and to the password field, I'm going to paste in the administrator password. And now I'm going to sign in. Very good. It's signing me in. Perfect. In the Services menu, select EC2, Services, under Compute EC2. Excellent. At the top right of the screen, enable new EC2 experience by toggling the button. So it's already toggled. New EC2 experience is already toggled. Fantastic. If it's not enabled by default, it is enabled by default, so it's fine. Step 44, navigate to the region that your lab was launched in. So once we've done this before. So ours was launched in US West 2, so that's all fine. Great. No issues there. Step 45, at the top right of your screen, if you see new EC2 experience toggle, we've done that already. In the navigation pane on the left, click Instances. So on the left of our EC2 dashboard, we see instances here. So select Instances. And as you can see, we have an instance and it's currently running. Excellent. So you are now able to see an Amazon EC2 instances because you have read-only permissions. However, you will not be able to make any changes to the Amazon EC2 resources. User 2 will not be able to make changes. Your EC2 instance should be selected, if not selected. So it's not selected, so I'm going to select it now by clicking there, and you can see the check mark. Excellent. In the instance state menu, click Stop Instance. So there's the instance state menu. Okay, we're going to click Stop Instance, and it asks us, do you wish to stop? To confirm. So I'm going to continue, click Stop, and it's giving me an error message. Failed to stop instance. You are not authorized to perform this operation. So there you go. And then the big long error message. Okay, great. That's the error message. Close the displayed error message. Very good. So I'm going to click the X here to close it. Excellent. Very good. In the services, click S3, step 50. So step 50, services, click S3 under storage. And notice we have an error message. You do not have permission to list buckets. Perfect, which is correct because user 2 does not have permission to use Amazon S3. Step 51, you will now sign in as user 3 who's been hired as your Amazon EC2 administrator. So the first thing is to sign out as user 2. So select there and sign out. And once again, do what we did before. We're going to have to paste in the URL. So I'm going to do that now. That's step 53. We're going to step 54, sign in as user-3, user-3. So we're repeating pretty much what we've done before, but with different users. Once again, paste in the password here. So I'm copying it, pasting it in, and sign in. Perfect. So now, step 55, in the services menu, click EC2. So the drop-down services menu, under compute, select EC2. Very good. Step 56, navigate to the region that your lab was launched in. Again, ours was launched in US West 2, so all is good. We don't have to change it. At least I don't. Verify that you don't. If you do have to change it as I've demonstrated earlier. Perfect. Step 57, in the navigation pane on the left, click Instances. So there's our EC2 dashboard. Select Instances. Here we are. And we can see our instance that is currently running. Your instance should be selected. If not, please select it. It's not selected, so I'm going to select it by selecting here, and the check mark appears. That means it's now selected. Step 58, in the instance state menu, click Stop Instance. So there's the instance state menu, click Stop Instance. So I'm going to click Stop Instance, and we're prompted to confirm that you want to stop the instance, choose the stop button below. Okay, I'm going to click Stop. And it now gives us the message, successfully stopped. Notice the way user 2 could not stop it before, but because user 3 does have start and stop privileges, it can. So the instance will enter the stopping state and will shut down. So close your private window. Okay, I would have thought we should log out, but let me literally follow the instructions as presented. So this is my private window. I'm going to close that. I would have thought you should have logged out, but anyway, very good. Last but not least, we want to end our lab, or we must complete our lab by ending our lab. So follow these steps to close the console, end your lab, and evaluate the experience. So step 61, return to the AWS Management Console. Okay, that's over here. That's our AWS Management Console. On the navigation bar, choose AWS student, this account here, and then choose sign out. So back to our window, our AWS Management Console, select the user information there, and then sign out. Excellent. On the so once we've signed out there, that's fine. We can probably close that window, but I'll just continue on. So step 63, choose End Lab. That's the button up here. So I'm going to do that in a moment. I'll do it now. Click End Lab. So all done. If you end this lab, you will lose all your work. You may not be able to restart the lab as there's a quota limit. Exactly, be aware of that. So are you sure you want to end this lab? Yes, I am. Click OK. And optionally leave stars. And I'm going to type great lab. Thank you. I suppose, not to be pedantic, but lab should be lowercase. Great. Click submit. And we have completed the lab. So, congratulations. You have now successfully explored pre-created IAM users and groups. You've inspected IAM policies as applied to pre-created groups. You've followed a real-world scenario, adding users to groups with specific abilities enabled. So remember user 1, we gave one access, user 2 a different type of access, number 3 a different type of access. And we've located and used the IAM sign-in URL and experimented with the effects of the policies on services. So guys, that is all I wish to show you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and like the video and give me some feedback via the comments. Thank you very much.